Hello, this is Arashi Neko, and welcome to my channel. This is the first video I'm uploading, so I'm not making any pretense about really knowing what I'm doing. I'll probably have to try a couple of times, and we'll just go from here. Don't expect a lot of production on this channel. I may put out a comedy video a time or two. I may put out different content, but what's starting me off is the world of TCaP. For those not familiar, and if you're not, I don't know why you'd be here, but TCaP stands for To Catch a Predator. To Catch a Predator was a television show on NBC. It was a news show. I don't know the runtime, but I do know that they were making videos, or they were having the To Catch a Predator show. It was a show within a show. It was Dateline NBC, but a segment that became very popular was To Catch a Predator. Somewhere around 2005 to 2007, and I'm sure that those are not precise years. It may have run 2 or 3 years. And during the show, they would set up a sting where they would talk to predators online, pretending to be children, 13-year-old boys, 13-year-old girls, and adults. I could say adult people, but they never had any women show up to this. So adult men would show up. They would get embarrassed by the news broadcast, and most of the shows, except for maybe the first 2, they would then be arrested by the police. In most jurisdictions, to speak to a juvenile or a minor or a child online using sexual terms is illegal. To transmit photos of yourself or adult photos of genitalia, penises, and so forth, that's illegal. And it's certainly illegal to show up at a house expecting to have sex with a 13 to a 15-year-old. Obviously, that's illegal. So, through the run of the show, which of course, like I said, we're talking 2005, 2007. So it's 15, 17 years ago, whatever, however long ago. It's been a long time. Recently, about 2 years ago, they did a run, an internet news company, this time instead of a TV broadcast company, did Hansen versus Predator, which was essentially the same thing, and they had very similar results. Interestingly enough, what I believe caused the downfall of the show was they had a district attorney who was a predator. He was communicating with someone he believed was a 13-year-old or a 15-year-old boy, and when the police were coming to arrest him, he didn't make it on the show. He never talked to Chris Hansen, but when the police were on their way to arrest him, he killed himself. Now, here we go. A predator who had every intention and showed intent to harm a child kills himself. The police didn't do it. He kills himself, which was a choice he made. And, oh, well, we can't have the show anymore because someone has died. Well, I'm not even sure why I'm doing this, except I think the Great Bapstby, who has an awesome channel. If I can learn how to do this, I'll put a link in the description. Her channel is very interesting. And if you're new to the world of TCaP, starting with her broadcasts would be very good. She has a very entertaining spin on just the whole thing. Most of her stuff is about the Predator Lauren Armstrong, but I'm sure over time she will branch out and cover other predators. There's about 10 that everybody knows, and everybody in the world of TCaP, could rattle off. Most of the people in the world of TCaP know them all. Anyway, but the Great Bapstby put it like this, that it's very cathartic to see these predators captured, embarrassed on TV, and captured by the law, because we've all had predators in our lives. We've all known people who were horrible, and we would like them to be embarrassed, and we would like their violations the illegal and or immoral or horrible things they do. We'd like to see them be held accountable. We like to see them be punished for this. In most cases, we're not going to see that. So we'll take the predators that we know were caught by the police, embarrassed, sent to jail, and we'll take that because that's all we got. And I completely agree with that. I just feel like I'm going to put my own opinions and spins on different subjects in the world of TCaP on my channel. I will not talk about politics. If they come up, they come up, but this is not a political channel. And it's not really a channel for debate per se. I have very, very strong feelings about this subject matter. And there's nobody that's going to change my mind about any of this. If you want an example of that, quite simply, I do not have any sympathy for any of the predators seen either on the internet or on television. As far as what's going to happen to them, were they really that bad of a person? Did Perverted Justice, who handled in the original TV run, they handled the sting operation. They provided the decoys that would pretend to be young children talking with these perverts. And some people say, well, this pervert was really bad, but this other one was not quite so bad, and I can kind of understand where they're coming from. I refuse to understand any of this. Any adult man who comes to a house to have sex with a child, and in every one of these cases, it was very clear that that's what was going on. The perpetrators would say, oh, well, I really did. We didn't discuss age, and I didn't know. No, in every single case that was presented, they knew what they were doing was morally and legally wrong. And that's the second thing we're not going to talk about, of course, is religion. I'm a religious man, but I don't care whether other people are or not. I'm not a Bible thumper, and I really believe that that's a very personal issue. If you believe religiously that you shouldn't harm children, you're absolutely correct. You shouldn't, at least according to every major religion that I'm aware of. However, if you're just non-religious, don't like the fact that religion exists, that's fine, because we've got another thing called law. And law protects people who are underage, as it should. I mean, if you're not going to protect your own children, what is there? Why bother protecting anything? The contents of your house, what, your couch? That car that's 5 years old and doesn't start good in the mornings anymore? That's what you're going to protect? If you're not going to protect your children first, don't bother protecting anything else. What's the point? Because they're the future. And forcing upon a child sex is going to cause damage. You are going to harm that child. Some of you who may be listening to this have been harmed. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do not believe that if you have some experimentation between kids of similar age, like two 14-year-olds, I mean, if I was the parent of either of the 14-year-olds, I would not be in support of that, and I would try to prevent it. I would want them to wait until later. However, if a 14-year-old boy or girl, or two boys or two girls, whatever, if they experiment, they're both experimenting. Your first experiences should be with people of like mind and like age. At least that would be nice. But for an adult to take advantage of the weakness or lack of maturity of a child, either the physical weakness or the emotional weakness or lack of maturity, is horrific. I can't stress this enough. I really can't think of a worse crime. If you smoke a little bit of marijuana, if you illegally stream movies, if you like to speed and you cheat on your taxes, none of those things are probably good things to do. But honestly, nobody is going to want to expose you or show you a lot of hate for any of that. Yes, we all make mistakes, as the predators themselves bring up. Yes, we all have skeletons in our closet, but not to that extent. I have known of murderers who didn't see themselves as being wrong. The person they murdered wronged them and they were just getting back at them. Or the person they killed shouldn't have done what they did, which forced me to do what I do, which is being a murderer. Drug dealers, well, I don't like to sell crack or I don't like to sell heroin, but my situation is what it is and I had to do what I had to do. That's very prevalent. It doesn't make it so. It is not true. I mean, people shouldn't illegally download movies, okay? If I do it, I can't say anybody forced me to do it. I mean, you shouldn't do it if you get caught. I don't know anybody getting caught or prosecuted for that. But anyway, so that's all I have for today. That's just a little introduction. I don't expect a lot of people to listen to this, but a lot more content to follow. And this is Arashi Neko signing off.